What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like, subscribe to the channel as you tune in and you check out the content. So, with that being said, man, I want to speak on Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens in that situation. As you probably already know, that the Ravens recently fired John Harbaugh, their head coach. I think John Harbaugh was there for 18 years, right? And so with that, they traded him. I mean, well, they got him out of there, and now John Harbaugh just signed with the Giants, or he's getting ready. I think he signed with the Giants because I think he got like a $20 million deal that he was looking for. So that's good for John Harbaugh, right? Congratulations to him. So now Lamar Jackson, right? And a lot of people are saying that the reason that John Harbaugh had to leave was because of Lamar Jackson. And I always say for athletes to be for athletes to be better or get better at their craft, they really just have to focus on their job. I don't care if you're playing basketball, baseball, football, like whatever, especially these somebody like that's a franchise ball player, you know, when they get into trying to, and I'm not saying that this is Lamar because I see this not just in football, but in basketball. But when they get into trying to like get rid of the coach and run coaches out of town, that takes away from their focus on like what's going on with their game. You never seen, and I always refer back to like the old school basketball players like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, and all those guys. Mike, who else? All the old school franchise ball players, like they never really got into to that, like they let the coaches coach, basically is what I'm trying to say. Those guys let the coaches coach. And football, what's the guy, Joe Montana, who else, Tom Brady, all those guys, man, they their job is so hard, being franchise ball players, that you gotta let these coaches coach and they do their job, whether you think they're doing a satisfactory job or not. As a player, that's not even your concern. Your main concern is to be the best player, and to continue to elevate your game. And so if you have a situation here, like some things are coming out, people saying some things about Lamar Jackson, far as like he didn't want to practice on certain days, or he might have wanted to practice at certain times on certain days. That's not really a good look. And I don't, and I can't see in the long run, I can see that won't benefit Lamar Jackson, because now that the coach is out of there, it's all on you. You have no more excuses as a player. They said that he didn't have any wide receivers around him. They went out and they got him some really good wide receivers. They said he didn't have any the running game was lacking around him. And so, like on the offense, they brought in everything that he would need to elevate himself and the team. And it just hasn't happened. So now that they really, that John Harbaugh is there, ain't no more excuses. Everything that you have needed, from help on the field and help off the field, management has provided that for you. And so now this means that Lamar is on the clock, so he got to step his game up, and he's going into his 8th season as a Baltimore Raven. And Jason Whitlock discussed this on his show. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna play the audio from that, and I'm gonna react to what Jason Whitlock had to say about the Lamar Jackson situation.
It's all the Lamar groupies that want Lamar to get out of his position and to want to start calling shots and making decisions and be one of these player empowerment guys. And so I'm just saying, they just kept coming back to, did you consult with Lamar on that? How much say so? Is Lamar going to be a part of the interview process for a new coach? Let's move to shot number 2, where Steve Bisciotti breaks down, like, here was the process of what transpired between me and Lamar as it related to firing John Harbaugh. Play shot 2.
Steve, did you speak with Lamar before you made the decision, and how would you characterize the influence he or other players' opinions on the situation had on your decision?
Yeah, I talked to a bunch of the veterans, and it's funny. As you all know, you've gotten to know Lamar about as well as I have, and Lamar is really, really a non-confrontational person. And when I spoke to him Monday night, he said to me, everybody's saying I got a problem with Monken. I don't really have a problem with Monken. I don't know where that comes from. And he said, and then I hear I've got a problem with Harbs, and I don't have a problem with Harbs. I don't know where that comes from. We got to make changes probably, but that's probably more for you and E. And I said, well, your opinion matters. And we talked about it. And but again, he was one of the many. I'm going to turn my phone off before it starts raining. Didn't put it on vibrate. And so, yeah, I mean, I don't think that the players had really a large part of my decision. My partners here probably had, that's an 80-20 thing. And I don't think I'd be a very good leader if I didn't ask the heads of the top players in my organization that have been here the longest. And you can bet they're the ones that have been here the longest.
All right, let me just say this right before Jason Whitlock come back on, right? So, like I said, as an athlete, I don't know, like some athletes, especially franchise ball players, like they don't like to be coached hard, right? And so if Harbaugh and the offensive coordinator was trying to coach Lamar hard, or they wanted, like they said, well, we're not going to reschedule practice for you or stuff like that, then maybe Lamar probably did have some resentment. That's why that got to come from up top. Whereas though you don't take the power, you don't undermine the head coach or the offensive coordinator. I don't care, like I said, as a franchise ball player, you still have to answer to the coach and the offensive coordinator. Some decisions that the Chicago Bulls made when Michael Jordan was there, like he didn't agree with it, but that guy Jerry Reinsdorf didn't really care. You know what I mean? And you talking about Michael Jordan, one of the most popular athletes in the world. And so, I just think it's important for players to mainly focus on what their job is and trying to be the best player that they can. And so if Lamar Jackson had anything to do with John Harbaugh losing his job, which, I'm not really trying to speak bad about Lamar Jackson. I just think that players, when they do get a certain amount of play, of pull and influence, that it could kind of be a distraction to them. And so it would be up to like the owner, Bisciotti, to really protect the players against them, from themselves. But let me go back into some more of what Jason Whitlock is saying, and let's see how he feel about this situation.
Did you catch that? They asked about Lamar, and Steve quickly says, no, I talked to a lot of our veteran players. And he's not narrowing anything down to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson is his quarterback who's struggling to play 17 games. And Steve Bisciotti just told you, if you're really listening and you can interpret what he says, when the owner of the Ravens says, hey man, y'all know Lamar as well as I do. Lamar's a non-confrontational person. Let me translate that for you. What he's saying is Lamar Jackson is not a leader. Because it's not that leaders look for confrontation, but they're not afraid of confrontation. They don't avoid confrontation. They don't avoid conflict. They settle conflict. That they engage in conflict and settle it through their charismatic personality.
Also, that like the way the owner put it too, it could lead me to believe that Lamar Jackson is the kind of person that is passive aggressive, right? So he's non-confrontational. So that could mean that he is passive aggressive, which means like he's not going to like whatever you do with John Harbaugh, you know, he'll let it be known in a kind of passive way that he's not really feeling John Harbaugh or he's not really feeling the offensive coordinator. And so the owner would be like, well, you know, we haven't had any success lately. So, you know, I got to make a change. I've gotten rid of offensive coordinators before. And so the next step is the coach. So, you know, now Lamar could have stood up for the offensive coordinator and he could have stood up for the coach and say, well, that's on me. You know, I got to get better. But I mean, because if you think about it, if Lamar Jackson has more success in the, you know, in the playoffs, then I don't think that John Harbaugh's job is on the line, and I don't think that the offensive coordinator job is on the line, right? Or it could be like the offensive coordinator, because remember when the Milwaukee Bucks in 2021 won the NBA championship, they had, you know, they got rid of their head coach after they won, you know, so which I thought was a bad idea too. So, but you gotta, that's why you call it a team, right? And not only from the court to the coach to management to ownership, like everybody's got a job to do, and you can't let the you know, it overlap, because you hurt your whole team and your whole organization when you allow players to do things that are like not really in there, outside of their field of expertise. It's enough. He got Lamar Jackson, and all players have enough on their plate without trying to be general managers. So this means that the next step, you know, they given Lamar Jackson, like I said, everything. They put the offensive pieces around him. They've gotten rid of coaches, coordinators, and so now this just says that Lamar Jackson is on the clock. He on the hot seat, in my opinion. So he, you know, he gotta have some success within the next season or two, or they're going to be looking to move on from Lamar Jackson with a new head coach. So that's my take on the situation. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, don't forget to leave a comment, and I'll check you all out in the next video. Peace.